Okay, I just wanted to make some comments. I was listening to a video from David and Stacy Whited. They're talking with Juan O. Savin, and this was done today or yesterday. And today is the November 18th, Thursday. And so, a couple of things Juan was talking about, and I think it's really important for the people who are awake and really want to dig a little deeper into what's really going on. Um, because there's a lot more going on, I believe, and it's going on behind the scenes. And when it's all done, I'm sure we're going to be, you know, brought up to speed, so to speak. So I'm going to play a little bit of this video here. Juan does have a tendency to drag it on and on and on, but I tried to get it close to where they were talking about some of the things that um, I don't think are exactly true. But let's take a listen, and then I'll come on and give you a couple comments here after you hear what they are discussing.
Drink there, yeah. You can
Yeah.
just give me a little thing. So then what happened was, thank you. Then what happened was, uh, even though we didn't see the Arab Spring begin in Tunisia, then it went back to Tunisia, which was to Egypt, which was the main event. So we knew where the biggest part of the push was going to be, but we didn't see this side angle coming clearly, which was Tunisia, which was part of the magic act to get it started over there, and then go to the main event. And it was like a precursor to get to the main event. In this situation with the presidency, vice presidency, everybody's been looking for the main event, which is when's Biden going to strip a gear?
Mm-hmm.
When's Joe gonna suddenly, you know, his eyes are gonna cross and his brain's gonna fog over, and there's gonna be like smoke coming out of his ears on, right in the middle of a broadcast somewhere, right?
Right.
You
Mm-hmm.
know, and I mean, I'm not actually exaggerating. I mean,
No, you are. You're kind of watching him all the time.
Yep.
And I think everybody gasps a little bit because, as screwy as he is, Kamala scares people. I don't. I mean, I don't think they don't like to watch.
So, is Joe Biden and Kamala Harris really president and vice president, or are the white hats in charge? Now, to me, you can't have both. If Biden is the duly elected president by the Electoral College, then everything from what we're hearing is not true. Or is he the elected president of the corporation, the United States Incorporated, and we are going through a transition period back to the constitutional republic for the United States of America? And that's the question. So let's listen a little bit more here.
Sure, they don't like to listen to her. They don't like
Her
the sound
laugh,
of her laugh,
crazy,
the way
yeah.
she smiles and nods when she talks. It's like everyone's had a boss like that probably at one time, and you didn't like them. And so
Mm-hmm.
she's probably one of the most disliked people on the public scene as a whole. So I think a lot of people feel like, oh man, as bad as this is with Biden, she's another level.
Well, and again, so why would somebody have wanted to have her in that vice presidency position? Because they knew that she had problems. They could take her out
Yeah.
on command at exactly the right moment. My contention would be that it's the same thing as happened with Spiro Agnew. The people that had him in there with Nixon knew that on command at the right moment, he had these payoffs, he had this stuff in his background. They could take him out on command at exactly the right moment to suit their purposes and put in who they wanted, which was Nelson Rockefeller, and then staging this whole Watergate thing. I mean, we have numerous sources that say, look, they warned Nixon that there was a plan, the Houston Project spy and spies that came back and warned Nixon. They were trying to set him up on something, and that's what happened with the Watergate. Is the one that decides via the Electoral College who won the election, who they put in office, who they're each state's representing. He is legally the president of the United States, and the courts did not argue over that. The president, President Trump, did not.
Okay, the courts did not argue over that. Are the courts corrupt? Absolutely. Are the courts going down? Is this just a show to show us how corrupt the courts are up to the Supreme Court? I believe yes. So now, is he just saying this to keep those of us content? Or is he telling some white lies? Or maybe he doesn't know himself? I'm going to put it out to the listeners here. Leave some comments. Let me know. Maybe I'm missing something here, because I don't think I am. Like Juan was saying, even Phil Godleski says that Juan got his wings snipped a little bit for giving out too much information. Here, I think he's giving out a little disinformation, so to speak. So, I'm just sick of the lying, the fake news, right? Tell us the truth. And I understand there's a military operation going on behind the scenes. Then maybe it's best not to say anything at all. Okay, that's really where it's so. I used to listen to Juan, every time he was on somebody's show. Now I kind of take it with a grain of salt, but I thought, well, this one's a must listen to, and I'm only at the 1 minute or a 1 hour and 20 minute mark roughly, and so I'm gonna play a little bit more. There was a few more things I think he says in there, and I'm looking for some feedback from everybody. Because I believe we're going from the corporation. That's why the corporation only has jurisdiction over Washington, D.C. And that's why you have fencing around the Capitol and the White House. And they move it, and it's still there, I think, per Nancy Drew. And they move it back and forth and give you a little bit more room and so forth. But it's been a long time, over a year. So anyhow, let's listen to a little bit more here.
Do anything to stop putting Biden into the presidency. Presidency is the chief of police. The policing side of government is the executive side of the federal administration, the presidency, etc.
Right.
The other side is external, and that's the war powers, the threats against enemies external. Policing is those from within your community, within your jurisdiction that may become thieves and criminals and violate the law and everything else. The other side is the external threats that want to steal from you at the nation state level, and that's the war side with the commander in chief and the military. And then within the commander in chief role and the military, there's an upper tier that relates to weapons of mass destruction, which most people know as being nuclear, and that's the portion that is within the weapons of mass destruction, nuclear and beyond. We have other things that are pretty destructive also. That it's the Department of Energy classification, a Q classification, and so. A lot of people in your audience, and this is, I want you to think about this. We, presented this whole narrative about Red October and the Red Sea and the children of Israel. They get to the Red Sea, and the sea they're backed up against it.
Yep.
And the Egyptian army with 600 chariots is racing in on them. And, the chariots are like light armored tanks.
Mm-hmm.
They're heavy. They're, this armor's to protect them from, slings and arrows and, spears that might come crashing through. They're pulled by a few horses. If you've watched Ben-Hur, you saw some chariots in action. And so, and it didn't just carry one person, it carried a couple. You had somebody running the horses, and you had somebody that had the spears and weapons and all sorts of things, and they're pretty gnarly little things. So, and they were leading the rest of the army behind them. And like a chainsaw, they'd come in and just mow down a section like a slice of whatever they were going after. They didn't just charge into the midst of a crowd. They would
kind
come
of
out of
rotate in a
sight.
circle.
I know everybody that hears this later is going to go, that is just taking too long. You think, okay, so I had a glass of wine. I've had a long day. I was a little slow at getting it all out, but I was.
Well, he just said it there. It's taking a lot longer. I paused a little bit of it in there. He just goes on and on and on. But the biggest thing that I want to come out and say, he's talking about Biden as the lawful or legal president. Maybe he said legal, or here again, I believe we're going through the transition between the U.S. corporation and the constitutional republic, which means Trump comes back as the 19th. Now, of course, I would probably study up on that because I don't even know. President is a corporate term. Technically, when you have a constitutional republic, that is a trust. So you have trustees, and if you want to have a chief trustee, then there you have it. But a president is a corporate term, and transitioning, obviously there needs to be some time. To me, a year is plenty. I guess you might say, well, from January 20th, I don't know. If we gotta wait till January 20th, it's gonna be a painful holiday season. But anyway, if somebody wants to comment on this, get a hold of me, put your email in there. I'd love to talk to you more about this. And because we're all about, bringing the voices back to the patriots, because right now, it's a challenging times right now. So take care.